Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, I show you my beige jacket. It's not as boring as it sounds. I've got some gorgeous tweeds in here, Oscar de la Renta, Chanel, and some Linton Tweeds.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
I'm not sponsored, but I just thought I'd tell you what lovely tweeds I have. I also have a Nordic one and some other ones that I bought from Etsy, and some New York ones as well. That front one there I bought from Etsy. And I'm showing you my beads here. Yeah, I got some beige ones out, but I had another couple of bags of beads that I was trying to find, but I can't remember where they are. And there's even a gift bag in there. I filmed this like over a week ago. That the gift bag is just completely coincidental. Anyway, so I forget which one I start with. I'm going to guess it's a beige tweed. Oh my gosh, that's right. When I filmed these, I decided to go in chronological order. So this is one of the first jackets I ever made. Definitely the first beige one. And the silk is Italian. I absolutely love it. I think it's an actual reprint of a Pucci print from the 1960s. So it's all psychedelic. And then this tweed is, as I said, one of the most conservative tweeds that I have. And if you look in there, it's beige and a sort of mint green and black and white and sort of a silvery white. And yeah, it's such a beautiful tweed. To this day, it's still one of my favorites. And beige sequins and beads are actually really hard to find. So I didn't really have much to put on the beaded trim, which is why it's so pared back and simple. Some of you probably like it a lot more than my usual creations. But I love this jacket. It's awesome. Like, the outside is so simple and conservative and, buttoned down. And then the inside is this psychedelic 1960s Italian silk. It's fabulous. I love it so much. And it's also just really comfortable, and I just love everything about it. It's such a beautiful tweed, but I'm not sure that you can see the green in there, but I know it's there. So that's what makes me happy about this jacket. And yeah, it's so lovely. And it's got to be at least 14 and a half years old, that one. And next, I think we might have a Chanel tweed. Oh no, this is the Nordic one. So it's cream and gold and, well, lots of different golds in there. And I actually went to the store that used to stock Chanel tweeds, and I'd saved up my pennies. And they usually got at least 2 Chanel tweeds every 6 months. When the new season comes in, because in fashion there's 2 main seasons, autumn, winter, and spring, summer. So, and I went in and I was like 3 hours later than they said they opened and they would have them. And all the Chanel tweed had gone, and then this one was super expensive, like the same price as a Chanel tweed. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll get some. And I'd been meaning to get 2 meters of the Chanel tweeds. So yeah, I ended up getting 2 meters of this. So I made one jacket out of the McCall's, this discontinued McCall's pattern. And then this one here, which I still haven't finished, is out of the Vogue V7975, and there's a little bit left over, so I can make a matching handbag as well or something. So I don't know why I haven't finished that. There's probably something wrong with it that I have to unpick. And because it's the more expensive a tweed is, generally speaking, the more loosely woven it is. So if you have to unpick an expensive tweed, you basically have to sit there and carefully tease out each tiny stitch, machine stitch. So yeah, you're better off hand stitching it first, making sure it's right, then machine stitching, or just hand stitching it straight up without any machines. This one, they didn't have a whole meter. Like, my jackets are really quite small. They're cropped, they're collarless, and they're a small size. So I can usually get a jacket out of 1 meter, which is a little bit more than a yard. And they only had the smallest amount of this one left, and I could make like a bag out of it, a handbag out of it, or a tiny vest. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll buy it. It's a Chanel tweed. And I made it up into a vest. I've only worn it a few times, and I did the beaded trim on it. I love it, but vests aren't really, I don't know. I think I'm the wrong shape for vests. It just makes me look all legs and then this tiny little vest on top. It sort of accentuates that I'm short-waisted. And I prefer a jacket, makes me look more balanced, in my opinion. Anyway, so next we have, this is a Linton tweed from Linton Tweeds in the UK. A lot of people ask me where they can get a Chanel style tweed. Gabrielle Chanel did actually buy, the man that she loved was British or English, and Linton Tweeds is in the UK, it's in England. And yeah, so for a very long time, until just a little bit before Brexit happened, the Chanel company was still buying some of their tweeds from Linton. So yeah, as I said, I'm not sponsored, but really good quality tweeds. Not the cheapest, but for what you get, extremely good value. And also Mood Fabrics in New York City, they have an online store. So both of they have some really reasonable tweeds that are reasonably good quality. And I just love the way this one has ribbons threaded through it, and it looks like little bricks. It's just the most beautiful, understated, but also luxurious tweed. And this is another one from Linton Tweeds, also got ribbons in it, but this is sort of a crisscrossed one, and it's more sort of purpley, sort of mauve-ish mushroom tones. And yeah, it's amazing. I love beige tweeds because, I don't know, a lot of people think beige is boring, but I just think it's kind of one of those litmus test things. Like it's just so, it's pared back beauty, if you know what I mean. So yeah, and I love the ribbons in this. I've got some pearls that are a mushroom colour. So I might just do a beaded trim for this one. Like the beaded trim will have a base of beige sequins, because now that I've been collecting beads for a very long time, I finally have oodles of loads of beige sequins and beads. So I might do a beaded trim for that one, or I might do all over beads with pearls. Next, we have a tweed jacket that is actually finished. It's got beaded trim on it. I made this one, was still one of the early ones. And once we get closer, you'll see that, here we go. So the beaded trim I made the beaded trim, and then I stitched it all together, making it one big bit. And then I covered it in black bridal tulle, so really, really fine tulle, and it's just a protective layer so that if anyone knocks the beads or anything, they don't break off or anything like that. I was just really cautious when I first started making jackets, and it takes a while, I think, to learn how to wear things that are heavily embellished. And then once I'd stitched the tulle on, then I pinned the beaded trim to the jacket, and then I hand stitched it on in three, like on the inside, the left side, the right side, and then in the middle with fishing wire or invisible thread. It's so frustrating working with invisible thread because, like, obviously it's really, really difficult to pin something that three-dimensional to a tweed, and also stitching with thread that you can't actually see. It's quite complicated and frustrating, but I got there in the end. Now this tweed, it's a Chanel look tweed, but it's not an actual Chanel tweed. And this jacket is hilarious because the tweed is actually quilted, so it's not just a tweed. They made the tweed, and then they stitched quilting to the back of it. So it's actually quite bulky. And I was like, oh, because it's so much more robust than usual, I can put a really heavy beaded trim on it. So I made this extra wide beaded trim, and then I made all these bead bugs. And I've got a separate video on bead clusters or bead bugs. Basically, you just stitch a big bead to some netting or a base fabric, and then over the top of the big bead, you string rows and rows of small beads or seed beads. And then once you've got the cluster, then you can stitch that to something else. And then you stitch all the other things around it. So it's very complicated, but it looks a little bit fabulous. It's very, very over the top though. So I think I'm going to take this beaded trim off and just do maybe all over beading on it. Like pearls or something, but I like it, but it's just so over the top. And it's not like it's good over the top. Like, it doesn't have enough at that point. I had clearly had a lot of seed beads, which are the small ones, and I had a few bigger beads in beige, and that was it. No real medium-sized ones, not very many pearls. But now I've got some beige pearls and some sort of coffee and caramel coloured pearls. And yeah, so I think I'll redo it. And now these are my fabrics. This is an amazing one. It's got little bits cut out of it. So it's 2 different layers of fabric machine sewn together, and it's got all this machine embroidery on it. And you can't really tell, but those big weird shaped things are actually big flowers, but they're so big, and my jackets are quite small, so I don't think you're ever going to be able to tell that they're actual flowers, which is a shame. But it's still interesting fabric nonetheless. Next we have a sequin fabric in beige. I also have a rose metallic sequin fabric, so I probably should have put that one in this episode. I put it in the brown one. Then we have a cotton fabric that I'm going to make little sequin roses on, and then I have 2 felts. One is a sort of blonde gingerbread colour and the other is a beige. So if I do end up taking this one apart, you know my grey flower jacket that I just finished with the sort of chandelier things on the sleeves, I might do the beige one that way, and then the blonde gingerbread one, I've got these sort of frosted clear and white flowers, so I might make that one up as a gingerbread house flower jacket sort of thing. It sounds weird, but it's gonna be cool. Oh, and here I got out that fabric with the machine. This is the back of that machine sewn piece. So it's an ivory color, and then metallic threads were used for the machine embroidery, and it's got burnout sections is what they're called. So yeah, it's sort of organza on one side and silk on the other side, and then the metallic threads on the embroidery. So it's, yeah. Loads of expensive ingredients don't always make something spectacular, but I'm determined to turn it into a beautiful jacket. So next up we have, this is me just admiring the tweeds. Oh, there's actually a video of this one. It's from years ago. It's one of the first jackets I made on this channel. So I had a separate video for the jacket, which is once again Vogue 7975, and then the tweed is from Linton Tweeds, and on the website, I don't know, the colors must have been slightly wrong. It's very beige, but when I bought it I thought it looked more like a peach color, and it just reminded me of peach Melba, that dessert, which sort of peaches halved and boiled in sugar water, and then you make raspberry jus or raspberry sauce, and yeah, with vanilla ice cream. Anyway, so that's why it's got the sort of raspberry beads in there and the peach coloured ones as well, because I just thought I wanted to make it look like a peach Melba. So yeah, one episode is where I made the jacket step by step, and then the next episode was me making the beaded trim. I was not great at doing the filming back then, so it's a little bit jerky actually. My filming skills are still not perfect, but they're much better than they were. And so basically you just measure how much beaded trim you want around. You have to make the jacket first because each jacket is slightly different and size wise, and then you measure your beaded trim, make a template, and then you make I use netting, stiff netting, to make the base layer of the beaded trim, and then you do sequins, a layer of sequins, and then you do the big beads, the medium beads, and then you sort of sprinkle small beads over the top. And well, that's how I make it. And then once it's done, you just check it all, and you can cover it in, as I said, you can cover it with a protective layer of tulle, and then if you want, and then you have to stitch it to the jacket, which is the most painful aspect of the entire thing. And it's also like really frustrating because you've made everything and then you just have to spend hours stitching it all together. It's so frustrating because it's almost done and you just want to try it on, but you've got to do all this work to finish it. And this is another jacket that I haven't finished yet. It's just this vintage looking cherry print, and I loved it, and I'm going to add sequins over the top, but I still haven't finished yet. And this one is actually finished. This is my Baby Yoda jacket, so it's from a long time ago, years and years ago, when Baby Yoda was still Baby Yoda without a name, so I still call it the Baby Yoda jacket. Anyway, so I bought this tweed during the pandemic off Etsy. Do not recommend. It took forever for it to get delivered, but then I made it out. There's an episode where I made it into a jacket, and then a different episode where I beaded it. First I did half this amount of beads, and there's just a mix of tiny glass ones and tiny like polished stone ones, and there's no actual jade, but they look like jade, and it's just I just love it. I didn't really have enough of any specific type of bead, so I just mushed them all together and used them all together. So there's like 20 of this bead, 10 of this bead, 15 of this bead, 40 of this bead, and so it's just all mixed. So yeah. Oh, and this is me saying, if I don't do the beige beads on the beige, then I would love to do mint beads on there, because I just love mint and beige together. Probably because one of my first jackets, the one that I showed you first, I just love that jacket so much. I know I can just wear that one, but when I make something and I really, really enjoy making it, I'm like, same again, let's do it again. It's like when I like a movie, I'm like, that was good, I'm going to watch it again. Or when I read a book and, I'm just like, ooh, that was good, I'll read it again. But I'm a simple person, what could I say? But, when you read a book a second time, like, you're a different person. Other stuff has happened unless you just start right again. But even then, like, you've just finished reading the book and you're familiar with all the locations and all the people in it. So you know who they are and who they're revealed to be. So I'm very naive and very wholesome. So sometimes I'm like, get to the end and I'm like, wow, that person was not good. So yeah, I appreciate the more I read things, the more I pick up. But anyway, and I like working with beads. Like when you're working on something, you're like, oh, I could do it this way, but no, I'll do it this way this time. And then the next time you use those same color combinations, you're just like, oh, well, I did it this way last time, and then I'll try it this way this time. Anyway, so with that, pale beige jacket. I'm thinking of doing one of those vintage knit jackets with that one, using up loads of different type of beads. This one is the Oscar de la Renta one, and it's got so many different colors in there. Now, you know my cactus jacket, the one I call my cactus jacket that has tiny little sage colored strawberry sequins on it? Well, I have those same strawberry sequins in a pale pink, and I think they would go fabulously on this. And I sort of have silver seed beads to stitch them on with, or clear ones. Or I guess I have some pale pink ones. I'm not sure I have enough of the pale pink ones. I could use the clear ones with pale pink thread. Probably look good. Anyway, I might do that. Or I've got clear glass beads, or I've got pearls. I'm just not sure, so that's why it's still not beaded. It's just such a really, really beautiful tweed, and I love the pale gold in there. It's really, really fine, but it's beautiful. I think when you move, especially out in the sunlight, it's beautiful. This one is a Linton Tweed, and this paint clots or whatever it's that look, the Linton actually developed that for Karl Lagerfeld because he wanted something that looked like moss. So they made this one in green and green, so like sage green, two different tones of sage green. And that was the Chanel tweed, but then they used the same techniques and they made the dusty rose and beige one that I got. And then this one is an actual Chanel tweed, and I love it for these tiny, tiny pale blue flowers, sequins in there. They're actually sewn into it. And this tweed, it's really, really loosely woven. It's difficult to show you. The camera is really annoyed by it. So it's really, really loosely woven. It's not picking it up, but yeah, basically it sort of looks like string. It's amazing, but I still can't figure out how to bead it, so it's not beaded yet. This is me remembering that I have another beige tweed, and it reminds me of Tom Brown, so I'll probably do a blazer type jacket with that one, and just really classic beading. And then we have that 1950s Simplicity. It's a reissue of an actual 1950s bolero, jacket bolero, and this one here. And I like it, but yeah, it was a little bit too short for me when I first made it because I'm used to a longer cropped jacket, if that makes any sense. So I think, yeah, I like this fabric. I've got a little bit more of this fabric, so I'm going to make one of my Chanel style jackets with it, maybe, or the Berta 6123, and then I'm going to bead it, and I might cover the yellow or I might cover the red, so it'll seem much more beige. And then this is my vintage knit jacket. Oh, I love this one. So this is actually oatmeal and beige, as well as a sort of purpley magenta and Kelly green. So I think I put it in the Kelly green, in the beige one, and I think I've shown it to you in something else as well. I love this jacket, and trust me, it took so much time to do. So I made it in December last year. Well, I actually made it in November, but you saw the video in Vlogmas, not last year, but like a year ago. And then it took me 3 or 4 months to bead because there was just so much beading on it. And then, yeah, it's just, I used up so many beads on this jacket. It's amazing. And I wasn't sure about the pink because there's no actual pink in the tweed. But then it just sort of, it looked like it needed something, an extra dimension, like just... Yeah, when it was just the beige, the oatmeal, that dark purpley colour, dark purpley magenta, and the Kelly green, there's just, I don't know, I felt like there was something missing. And I was like, I'll just add the musk pink. We'll see what it looks like. And it's just, it's perfect. You know when you do something and you like, that's like what it was always supposed to be. I was really happy when I was relieved when it was finished, because oh my gosh, seriously, it took so much work. And then this is me showing you all the beads. There are some really beautiful ones. Those tiny little pearly looking beige ones are glass beads with a sort of AB finish. So yeah, that's it. That's everything. That's all the beige ones I've done. So I've got lots of beading to do. And this is just a recap of the ones. I've got to fix the shoulder of that one. And then I've got to finish making the other one. And this is the Chanel tweed. It's such a pretty tweed. I don't know, maybe I'll add some sleeves to it. I'd wear it more if it had sleeves. And then, the brick one, I love that one. This one, got to finish beading that one. Well, haven't started beading it, but it's just so pretty, I want to wear it. And this one, I don't really like this one. I might take the beaded trim off and embellish it, like do all over beading for it. I've got so many jackets to finish before I start. But once I've finished all the tweeds I have and made them up into jackets, then I think instead of buying more tweeds, I'm just going to remake all the jackets that I have, because now I'm so much better at beading and so much better at sewing. I just look at my old ones and I'm like, ooh, I could remake that so beautifully. But yeah, this one, I think if I ever get around to, this one I don't think I'll remake. I love it the way it is. I don't know, there's something about beige and mint green. They're just so lovely together. And this one, it's such a beautiful tweed. So complex. I love it. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've been inspired to make a jacket of your own. And yeah, definitely don't discount the beige tweeds. There's some absolutely gorgeous, complex beige tweeds out there. And they're so much fun to work with. Oh, my vintage knit jacket. So obviously it's not a knit, it's a tweed, but it's supposed to look like those vintage knits with all the different, using up all the different bits that they had left over. Anyway, thanks again for watching and happy sewing.